Limass, the new men were told, was the old school, blood, guts and cricket and school-cert French. In Limas's case, this happened to be unfair, since he was bilingual in German and English, and his Dutch was admirable. He also disliked cricket. But it was true that he had no degree. Limas's contract had a few months to run, and they put him in banking to do his time. Banking section was different from accounts. It dealt with overseas payments, financing agents and operations. Most of the jobs in banking could have been done by an office boy, were it not for the high degree of secrecy involved, and thus banking was one of several sections of the service which were regarded as laying out places for officers shortly to be buried. Limass went to seed. The process of going to seed is generally considered to be a protracted one, but in Limass this was not the case. In the full view of his colleagues, he was transformed from a man honourably put aside to a resentful, drunken wreck, and all within a few months. There is a kind of stupidity among drunks, particularly when they're sober, a kind of disconnection which the unobservant interpret as vagueness, and which Limass seemed to acquire with unnatural speed. He developed small dishonesties, borrowed insignificant sums from secretaries, and neglected to return them, arrived late or left early under some mumbled pretext. At first his colleagues treated him with indulgence. Perhaps his decline scared them in the same way as we're scared by cripples, beggars and invalids, because we fear we could ourselves become them. But in the end his neglect, his brutal, unreasoning malice, isolated him. Rather to people's surprise, Limass didn't seem to mind being put on the shelf. His will seemed suddenly to have collapsed. The debutante secretaries, reluctant to believe that intelligence services are peopled by ordinary mortals, were alarmed to notice that Limass had become definitely seedy. He took less care of his appearance and less notice of his surroundings. He lunched in the canteen, which was normally the preserve of junior staff, and it was rumoured that he was drinking. He became a solitary, belonging to that tragic class of active men prematurely deprived of activity. Swimmers barred from the water, or actors banished from the stage. Some said he had made a mistake in Berlin, and that was why his network had been rolled up. No one quite knew. All agreed that he'd been treated with unusual harshness, even by a personnel department not famed for its philanthropy. They would point to him covertly as he went by, as men will point to an athlete of the past and say, "That's Limass. He put a black in Berlin. Pathetic the way he's let himself go." And then one day he vanished.
He's seen my photograph. Listened to my description. In a minute, he'll stop smiling. "I'm Dickie Roper," a lazy voice announced as the hand closed round Jonathan's and briefly owned it.